Yo, what's up, all you burner stores and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there, Mrs. Weedman?
Mr. Weedman?
How the hell are you?
I've had better days.
Hey, all you vipers out there in the world. Hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks where you're listening to the show. Mrs. Weedman and I are about to get normal with a strain, an oldie but a goodie, if I can get my phone open, called OG Kush. Is an indica-dominant hybrid cannabis strain known for its balanced uplifting and relaxing effects, combining mental euphoria with deep physical relaxation, making it popular for managing stress, anxiety, pain, and insomnia. The classic strain, emerging in the early 1990s, is recognized for its vibrant green trichome-covered buds and distinctive aroma and tasty, earthy pine and lemon. OG Kush is a foundational strain for many other popular varieties, and this is a favorite among medical and recreational users alike. Characteristics: appearance, vibrant green, dense buds with vibrant orange pistils, and a thick layer of frosty trichomes. The taste: a complex profile of earthy pine, citrus, lemon, and a hint of diesel. It's an indica-dominant hybrid, often described as a cross between Hindu Kush and Chemdog. Effects: a balanced high that starts with the euphoric, happy, and cerebral head high, followed by a powerful body relaxations. Typical range of THC is 20 to 26%. Some benefits: mental health, alleviating stress, anxiety, and depression. Pain relief, managing chronic pain, aching muscles and joints. Sleep, promoting relaxation, helping with insomnia. Mood enhancement, uplifting mood and promoting feelings of happiness and sociability. This was a legacy cut given to us by our friend Big Earl, and this is one of the classic strains. And Mrs. Weedman and I have been smoking this for a hot minute now, and it's a delicious nighttime relaxing strain. I really enjoy it every time we smoke this one. Thank you, Big Earl, for throwing to the cause. And while I'm smoking, Mrs. Weedman's going to tell you a little bit about 8decades.com.
Yeah, 8 Decades is our cannabis lifestyle brand. You can find it at 8decades.com. That is 8, the word, spelled out, EIGHT, decades.com. And there you will find our custom smoke set. That's our rolling tray. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, you could see us. So we have a rolling tray. We have a multi-tool, so you're not handling your cannabis with your fingers. You're keeping all those terpenes and cannabinoids intact on the plant. And we also have a wonderful ashtray that Mr. Weedman is using. We've got beautiful storage jars and so much more. Hemp clothing. We got Mr. Weedman swag. All sorts of goodies. We got a great steamroller. Everyone loves our steamroller.
Oh, yeah. Thanks to the two people that just bought them.
Yep. So we've got lots of products, lots of information, links to the podcast, and all sorts of good things. So check us out at 8decades.com.
Yeah. Also, now we just joined up. We launch our platform through a company called Buzzsprout. And Buzzsprout is basically a platform we put our podcast to, and it launches all of our audio, all the different audio platforms you can listen to us to. They also now have us registered to where you can donate to the Weedman 420 Chronicles. There is a link. You'll see it in Mrs. Weedman's description and bio on our audio and YouTube. And you click on that link and you can donate to the cause. We appreciate it. And if you do decide to donate to the cause, Mrs. Weedman and I will send you a nice little goodie bag.
Yes.
For donate to the cause. So we just had our first person donate. We just joined a couple weeks ago. And I think he's from, this person's from California. So thank you so much. And we appreciate you out there. If you donate to the cause, we love you for it. Thank you so much. We talked about this back in March. We went to an expo called Flower Expo. And it is returning to Chicago this September for 2 days this time. And it's a cannabis experience. The fast-growing cannabis trade show will connect Illinois brands, retail buyers, bud tenders for networking, product showcase, speaker sessions, and deal making. This time around, it's returning to Chicago for 2 days. It's taking place September 23rd and 24th of 2025 at the Garrity, Geraghy, Geraghy. I think it's over in Pilsen. From when I looked it up. So it's a 2-day this year, and their first event brought over 60 exhibitors, hundreds of stores, and over 1,000 bud tenders, and in just 1 day, said the Flower Expo CEO Jason Bello. Illinois is one of the most exciting and dynamic cannabis markets in the country, so we immediately knew we had to double down in Chicago and become the go-to event in the marketplace. There's going to be tons of retailers there, dispensary, just it was great. So if you have a chance to make it, if you're a bud tender listening to the show, or if you're somebody just interested in cannabis, check out Flower Expo this year, September 23rd and 24th. And Mr. Weedman will be there walking around, handing out some stickers, saying hello to everybody. You might even get an edible if you find me. So check out the Flower Expo, everybody. We hope to see you there. You know something funny?
What?
When I was a kid, really young lad, my grandparents had a dog. It was a mutt. And I remember one New Year's Eve night, midnight, when you pop the champagne and all that stuff, they poured like his dog dish with a ton of champagne. And this dog slobbered it down. And now I don't remember. I didn't know what being drunk was at that age. I was young. But the dog was walking funny and banging into walls. He was an old mutt. And it was funny. So I didn't realize my dad was saying, oh, he's drunk. Look at him. He's banging into walls and don't even know where he's at. It was kind of funny. So there was a funny article that came up saying, do animals get drunk? What do you think? Do you think animals get drunk?
Yeah.
Yeah. We know animals get stoned.
Oh, yeah.
We've had two dogs that a pat of butter fell one time. We were making edibles. Twice it happened. One dog ate it one time and another dog ate it a time. And they were both pretty stoned. I'll even say it, one of our dogs, Bigfoot, was in town, my brother, and he had a little too much fun the night before and threw up.
Oh, God.
Remember that? And I think some edibles weren't.
He threw up out in the yard because we were all hanging out in the yard, and he like went over in a corner and threw up. And the dogs found it the next day. And our dog would eat anything. She was part beagle.
Yes.
So you literally.
She was a puggle.
She just could not control her appetite.
And I think there was some undigested edibles in that pile there.
That's what
and remember
happened,
how
right.
whacked it. She was like zoinked.
She was
for
not
like
good.
2 days.
Yeah.
So we know. I'm just thinking about Maxie, just a tongue sticking out the side. But do they get drunk? Do animals get drunk? Many animals seem to consume alcohol, but likely not for the same reason that humans do. Alcohol metabolism may have evolved as a survival advantage in the wild. So in 2007, Anchorage Daily News reported a goofy-looking moose that got tangled up in Christmas lights. A local biologist guessed that the animal had eaten too many fermented crab apples from a nearby tree and may have been drunk from the alcohol in the fruit. There's a lot of stories like that, and biologists at the College of Central Florida who studies the evolution of alcohol metabolism said, but I would almost say those are one-offs. So ethanol commonly occurs in nature, and a lot of animals in the wild, especially those diets that consist of fruit and nectar, consume at least occasionally. However, according to Kerrigan, it's disadvantageous, even dangerous for animals to roam around while under the influence. For this reason, animals likely evolved the ability to metabolize alcohol so they wouldn't get intoxicated. You wouldn't want to swing around in the trees at night surrounded by predators when you're drunk, Kerrigan said. Pintail tree shrews drink but don't get drunk. According to Kerrigan, one of the best documented examples of wild animals consuming alcohol is the story of the West Malaysian pintail tree shrews. In a 2008 study, the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science research observed 3 shrews slurping on alcoholic palm nectar in the middle of the night. They estimated the animal's alcohol intake based on how much nectar they consumed and its alcohol content. The researchers also measured the level of ethanol glucosinide, an alcohol metabolite in the tree shrew's hair using mass spectrometry. This method is also commonly used to assess chronic alcohol consumption in humans. The researchers reported that 3 shrews' diet mostly consisted of this alcoholic nectar. They estimated that the 3 shrews metabolized alcohol at the same rate as a human. You know how big a shrew is?
Like a squirrel?
They're like this big.
Oh, they're that little?
Yeah, they're very tiny, and they're mean.
Like a newt?
Yeah, they'll kick your ass. No, not a newt. A shrew is a...
well, I mean like the size of a newt.
No, a little bit bigger than that. A smaller than a mouse.
Okay.
Than a field mouse.
Okay.
You know how small they are, right? And they're ferocious, though.
Yeah?
Shrews are ferocious. They fuck some shit up.
They bite?
They like can kill scorpions. Yeah,
they have poison?
They fuck some shit up. They're just tough.
They like scratch?
Fast.
Claw? Bite?
Fast teeth.
What do they do?
Fast teeth and they're just fast.
Like they go crazy.
Yeah, they get a little crazy.
True.
So some animals have evolved alcohol metabolism by eating fermented fruits. I've seen elephants get drunk on
they're furry.
Yeah, oh yeah, the little they kind of look like a small little like Russian hamster.
They look
kind
like
of.
an anteater, a possum, mouse,
and a platypus.
platypus. What the heck?
So I've seen elephants get drunk by eating too much fruit. I've seen monkeys eat too much fruit and get drunk.
Yeah.
Because so they're saying he believes that there's evolutionary advantages to having high tolerance for alcohol, but this is a tricky hypothesis to test. One possible way to compare enzymes that metabolize alcohol, such as alcohol to ADH, between modern animals and their ancestors. In 2015, Kerrigan and his colleagues compared the sequence of activity to ADH4 between different primates, including humans, with up to 70 million years of evolutionary distance between them. The researchers found that a single amino acid, the ADH4, allowed humans, along with chimps and gorillas, the closest primate relatives, to metabolize ethanol approximately 40 times faster than more distantly related counterparts. That's as close as a fact gets when it comes to paleogenetics, Kerrigan said. So Kerrigan wants to everyone understand how humans evolved to rewards system for alcohol consumption despite its unpalatable taste. There's good reason to believe that alcohol addiction has an evolutionary basis, Kerrigan said. There should be some evolved mechanisms of reward, and this is the next area of molecular studies that he's going into. So kind of cool, but it's funny just like watching.
I'm just stuck on the shrew.
The shrew.
Because I had to pull one up. There's things about it that are kind of cute.
They're ferocious.
Their fur looks so soft. They have a clear nose.
Yeah, but they fuck some shit up.
Yeah. They have sharp needle-like teeth. That sounds horrible.
Yeah, they can kill
they bite
scorpions
people?
and spiders and shit.
Would they bite you?
They probably would.
Like they're aggressive?
Yeah, very aggressive.
Like a mouse would run away. These guys would charge you.
I don't know if they charge, but they ain't going to run. They hold their ground. How'd that go?
I don't know. I feel like a shrew today. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. But shrews are cool. If you ever watch animal shows, you can probably watch some shows about shrews. I have, and I've watched them, like how they just come out. They're nocturnal. They come out at night and they hunt insects. And they just but they eat like in a night's weight. We would be 500 pounds. That's how much
they're always hungry.
Yes.
They eat 80, 90% of their body weight to survive every day.
That's what I'm saying.
Insects, slugs, snails.
They don't fuck around.
Earthworms, protein, bro.
Yeah. They're tough. The shrew. Watch it. Just back up if you learn anything about shrews. They're fucking fun creatures and animals.
That's not what we were talking about, though.
We were talking about animals getting drunk.
Yeah.
But the shrew, I love a good shrew. I love a good shrew.
I love a good shrew.
I always wanted one as a pet. I had hamsters, but I always wanted one as a pet because I always wanted to watch them like live, like go after the way they beat up a scorpion. They eat it all the way up to the nip of the tail. They won't eat the hard part of the stinger. You should like that though, that they kill bugs. You're not a bug fan.
It's just creepy. It's a meat eater.
Yeah. Like I said, fuck some shit up.
Yeah.
So we've talked about cannabis leaves on this show a lot. And so we're going to get the show started, right? And we've talked a ton about cannabis leaves, juicing them. You like to put them in books and press them. And you've become a very good leaf hunter. But juicing them, grinding them up and putting them in tea. What do we put them in?
You can dry them and then grind them.
Them, yeah. People roll joints with leaves, but don't throw them away. Like I've said in prior shows,
compost them.
So don't throw away those cannabis leaves. They're packed with a rare compound, though, they found. And this is by Eureka Alert. What's cracking, my podcast family out there? Today, we got some dope science talk hot off the presses. So don't toss those cannabis leaves in the compost bin just yet, okay? Researchers over at the Stellenbosch University in South Africa just dropped some knowledge bombs, and it turns out those leaves are packed with a rare phenolic compounds that you didn't even know existed in the plant. Here's the scoop. Phenolic compounds, especially those superhero flavonoids, which we've talked about in prior episodes, are already known in the pharma world for their antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and even anti-cancer moves. But this just got bigger. The team identified 79 distinct phenolic compounds across 3 commercially cultivated cannabis strains. And get this, 25 of those were brand new to cannabis ever. And among them, a rare class called flavoalkaloids popped up. And they were primarily chilling in the leaves of just one strain. Now, let me break this down for you. Flavonoids, they're party staples in the plant world. But flavoalkaloids, those are exotic. Super rare in nature. Dr. Marguerite Miller, legendary analytical chemist over in the LCMS lab in Stellenbosch, says analyzing these phenolics is tricky business because they're low concentration and structurally all over the map. But she and her crew deployed a killer hybrid technique, 2-dimensional liquid chromatography mashed with high-resolution mass spectrometry. And that's how they separated these flavoalkaloids from the more common flavonoids and actually spotted them in cannabis for the first time. Pretty wild, huh, Ms. Weedman?
Yeah.
Professor Andre de Villers, Muller's study leader, was absolutely floored by the chromatographic separation. He pointed out the performance of the tech was so sharp, it let them detect these rare compounds that had been hiding in plain sight. And here's the kicker, fam. This research is shining a new light on cannabis, and not for cannabinoids, side we're all used to talking about and hearing about. It underscores that the waste plant parts, like leaves, might actually be biomedical treasure troves. Non-cannabinoid phenolics, full of potential for medical research. So, a quick recap in some science terms. Let me take a sip.
I'll have one with you.
Cottonmouth. Woo. Cannabis leaves aren't just filler. They're loaded with rare phenolics, despite being regarded as waste. 79 phenolic compounds discovered, 25 brand new to cannabis, and 16 identified tentatively as flavoalkaloids, mostly in one strain's leaves. Detection powered by next-level analytical chemistry, 2D liquid chromatography, plus high-res mass spec. This is opening doors to exploring non-cannabinoid bioactives in cannabis for therapeutic potential. Juice those leaves, baby. Boil them. Savor them. Love them. I love going out there to our plant that's growing outdoors right now and just touching the fan leaves and feeling them and then smelling my fingers, and it just wakes me up, Give it
all
a little.
The sugar leaves are getting all juicy.
Oh, Midwest Terps, baby. Thank you
It's a pretty
for
plant.
that Vegas candy. I cannot wait to smoke it. Our yard smells. It took over the smell. You don't smell any other pollen from anything right now. You just smell that plant. And all you have to do is walk out to the middle of the yard, and you just
I wonder if anyone's going to complain.
Huh?
I wonder if anyone's going to
Who's
complain.
going to complain? It smells nice,
I
fragrant,
know, but not
beautiful.
everybody thinks so.
Yeah. When I give them a nug, they'll be happy. It's not like we're growing 5
I
of those
hope
plants.
so.
If we were growing 5 of those
right?
plants, it would reek out there. It'd be wonderful.
Space them out. Have a wall.
This might be a little controversial. A little bit, maybe. We'll see. Can low-dose THC be used to medicate young children?
Yes.
Tell us about it, Ms. Weedman.
When it comes to treating pediatric conditions with medical marijuana, cannabidiol, or CBD, is usually the most popular course of action. After all, CBD is well tolerated by most of the population, and because it's non-psychoactive, its applications are much more versatile, especially for the elderly and children, who are more vulnerable to the psychoactive effects of THC. However, low doses of THC may be better tolerated in older and pediatric populations, and some studies also show that low doses of THC are actually beneficial for treating certain conditions in children. Keep in mind that THC is biphasic in nature. This means that the effects in low doses are incredibly different from THC in high doses. Studies have proven time and again that low doses and cautiously titrated amounts yield valuable therapeutic benefits for kids. Some of these benefits include seizure reduction, treating spasticity, and even nausea without worrying about intoxicating children or causing them to be impaired. It's also important to note that pediatric cannabis consumption is best done under the supervision of a specialist. Medical practitioners and doctors always start with the lowest dose possible, sometimes even in micrograms, and observe the response before increasing. Also, more often than not, pediatric cannabis formulas, such as those widely prescribed for epilepsy, combine both CBD and THC. Higher amounts of CBD counteract any potential psychoactive effects while enhancing the therapeutic properties of the cannabinoids. The end result is much safer and efficient. For example, a recent study from Melbourne, Australia, analyzed children with Rett syndrome. This rare condition is characterized by seizures, developmental delays, loss of motor coordination, as well as speech. The patients were treated with cannabis extracts that contained both CBD and THC twice per day, and assessed at the start of the study and then again after 12 weeks. Investigators found that after using cannabis, the patients experienced significant improvements. Oral administration of cannabis extracts for 12 weeks was associated with significant improvements in core Rett symptoms, including mental alertness, communication skills, socialization, eye contact, attentiveness, and anxiety, reported the researchers. Cannabis administration also demonstrated improvements in key secondary outcomes, such as overall clinical severity, quality of life, and a reduction in caregiver burden, they added. Wow. In addition, the researchers noted that physical symptoms also improved, such as their mood, teeth grinding, and breathing. Rett is associated with a range of complex clinical manifestations, they concluded. The improvements observed in clinical outcomes and caregiver burden justify ongoing research and confirm that cannabis extracts are a potential adjunct therapy for RTT, investigators wrote. In 2021, researchers published the results of a randomized placebo-controlled study of 150 kids and adolescents with autism. The investigators tested 2 whole plant cannabis oils made with a 20-to-1 CBD-THC ratio, which was administered to the patients for 12 weeks. The researchers also analyzed autism scores and found that there were significant improvements, especially in disruptive behavior. They confirmed that the extract was well tolerated, except for a reduced appetite and drowsiness in some patients. Turkish researchers studied high CBD extracts on 33 adolescent participants who had mild to severe symptoms of autism. This study was also published in 2021 and revealed that the long-term use of marijuana extracts with high CBD and low THC content was effective and safe for treating autism symptoms among adolescent patients. There are no significant side effects, and the author reported that the effects were successful in minimizing autism symptoms. Main improvements of the treatment were as follows. A decrease in behavioral problems was reported in 10 patients, or 32%. An increase in expressive language was reported in 7 patients, or 22.5%. Improved cognition was reported in 4 patients, or 12.9%. An increase in social interaction was reported in 3 patients, or 9.6%, and a decrease in stereotypes was reported in 1 patient, or 3.2%. The investigators wrote, they reported improvement in cognition in patients who adhered to CBD-enriched cannabis treatments for over 2 years. Do you hear that? Improved cognition when using CBD for 2 years. Usually using lower doses of CBD and trace THC because it seems to be promising in managing behavioral problems associated with autism, said the authors. THC has become demonized due to increasing levels found and bred in cannabis strains. It has been unnecessarily vilified because of its intoxicating characteristics, which can be dangerous if it's in the wrong hands. Because THC can get you high doesn't mean it has no place in medicine. even in pediatric care. It's best not to oversimplify things and avoid ignoring the science because studies and countless anecdotal evidence show that THC in the right doses and when administered under clinical supervision is safe and effective for treating children. THC is a dose-dependent medication. Adult recreational users can consume it at high doses, but in low, controlled doses, we can harness powerful therapeutic properties that Big Pharma can't beat. For countless families who merely want to help their children deal with challenging conditions that pharmaceutical medications can't treat, cannabis has been found to make all the difference in the world. Let's not demonize THC, but recognize it for the medication that it is, a versatile, natural compound that contains life-saving properties. Everyone, including children, deserves access to effective treatment, which is why we believe that cannabis has its place in pediatric medicine. Yep.
How's it going?
There's a lot of studies.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what...
and they're not talking about, having your child walking around stoned.
Right.
I mean, it's being used therapeutically. It can't be...
Very minute dose.
Yeah, and I mean, pharmaceutical medications do damage to your body.
Oof.
So,
Do they?
really, what's so bad about cannabis? If it's going to help your child thrive.
Right.
I mean, these kids with seizures can't
We
function.
know
They
some that
can't.
have taken
Yeah.
CBD
Yep.
with small amounts of THC, and some kids were having 50, 60 seizures a day, and they maybe have one a week or one a month or very few at all.
Yeah.
It's amazing just for that alone, But that was a great article too.
Yeah.
I mean, evaluating the association of cannabis use and longitudinal kidney outcomes. I'm reading this in honor of my dad, who passed away from polycystic kidney disease, was the cause of all of his issues. And then my brother Bigfoot, polycystic kidney disease, ran in the family. My dad smoked cannabis, helped him with all of his pains and aches till the last year of his life when he just, nothing was helping at that point. And then, my brother too, he uses cannabis every day for pain, sleep, aches. I mean, kidney damage, failure, takes a toll on your body. Especially if you can't get a transplant at first and you have to go on dialysis. That is rough. I lived through that for 20 years. A little less because he went on the other stuff, the drip line that we used to call pee-pee in the bag. I can't remember what it was called.
Peritoneal dialysis.
I used to call it pee-pee in the bag because I could pronounce that word.
Dialysis. Just call it dialysis.
Yeah. But the dialysis where they take your blood and they process it through a filter and then it goes back in for 4 to 5 hours at a time, 3 days a week. Some people have to go more. It takes a fucking toll on your body. And my brother hasn't had to do that yet. He's gotten 2 kidney transplants from very close friends.
Which also comes with a whole bag of ongoing
medications,
medical care.
And medical care. And you're on basically, you're taking medication 24/7, 7 days a week. It doesn't stop. So, but this was a really good article. I just wanted to shout out to anybody that has kidney failure out there. You're in my prayers. I've lived through it, not personally have it, but family members. And it's nothing to joke with because everything that comes with on top of that is, I feel bad. So for my herb family out there, loving family out there, sliding into your ears with this more science, I told you it's going to be about science and science. So here's the kicker. Researchers from Johns Hopkins and Tulane just dropped a fresh study this year in the cannabis and cannabinoid research looking into how cannabis use might or might not mess with your kidneys over time. So let's dive in. Picture this, a cohort of 1,521 adults from Baltimore, mean age around 48, 58% female, 58% black, running a real diverse mix. Cannabis use at the study baseline pre-2009 was sorted into 4 groovy categories. Never tried, irregular use, former regular use more than 6 months ago, currently regular use within the past 6 months. They tracked things over the average of 8.6 years. So this is a long study. Checking for the usual suspects. Incident chronic kidney disease, rapid kidney function decline, and incident albuminuria. That's the protein in the urine, and that's a key red flag in kidney health. All adjusted for demographics, health status, and even people were using cigarettes, opiates, or cocaine because scientists don't mess around. Drum roll, Mrs. Weedman. The findings.
Sorry.
Current regular cannabis users weren't at any higher risk for CKD. Odds ratio of 0.79. Confidence interval 0.37 to 1.68. Not higher risk for rapid decline. OR at 0.80. 95% CI, and it's 43 to 1.49. And not...
What? What are you?
This is current findings. Current regular cannabis users weren't at any higher risk for CKD. And those were the ratios, the odds of the interval. So, and then and not higher risk for albuminuria, 0.84 at 95% CI, which is 38 to 1.87. In simple terms, cannabis didn't seem to harm kidneys over time. So I just threw out the ratios, but the ending was the key.
Yeah.
Just in case somebody wants
I just
data.
got a little lost in the sauce.
Somebody wanted some data. I know Big Earl, OG Kush, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, some people like those numbers.
So
I got really confused.
You got confused. It's that cozy conclusion mirrors what other studies have shown. No independent link between cannabis and kidney problems over time in folks without existing CKD. CKD is chronic kidney disorder. So, but let's get real. No study's perfect, though. This one was observational, only asked about cannabis at baseline. So we don't know how consumption changed over 8+ years. It didn't capture how folks were using it. Edibles, vapes, or joints. Dosage, all unknown. Plus, only adults without CKD at the start were included. So we can't generalize this to older cats or people already dealing with kidney probs. There's got to be some future studies, and they got to dig it deeper. So here's some breakdown. Big cohort, long ride, 8.6 years. Kidney health held strong across cannabis use groups. No apparent independent risk of CKD, rapid decline, or albuminuria tied to cannabis. Mirrors broader research. Cannabis doesn't seem to be the silent killer for healthy kidneys. But more nuanced studies needed, especially looking at consumption methods, dosage, and older or already sick population. So for now, if you're sparking or vaping and keeping your lifestyle in check, the science says your kidneys might just chill along with you. But listen, don't treat this like an all clear forever. More research is coming, and we'll ride that high together. Right, Ms. Weedman?
Yeah.
The more information I find out about this, the better, just because it's in my family. So, oh, man. Where are we? I got lost in the sauce.
We're in
myself.
La La Land.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about fitness.
You are a fitness enthusiast guide to mindful cannabis. And
You okay over there, Mr. Weedman?
Yeah, I skipped my one article and went to my third article, I think. No, I didn't. I skipped your article. Whatever. We found out where we were at, though, right, Mr. Weedman?
We're back.
OG Kush, baby. Sometimes you just need to.
Sorry, I needed to get lost in the sauce.
Yeah, Mrs. Weedman, I will tell you this. I love you.
Oh, I love you.
I know sometimes we all have a rough one here and there, you know? It all comes in full circle.
Mm-hmm.
I love you, though.
Thanks.
Get through tough times for the better times. I love you. All right. Tell us about working out.
All right.
Pussy, bro.
Yuki just jumped up. All right. You don't have to choose between lighting up and leveling up. That choice has kept a lot of people from exploring how cannabis might support, not sabotage, their fitness journey. I've hiked high peaks, lifted heavy, and held planks for way too long, all while integrating cannabis into my routine with purpose. Not to escape, not to numb, but to become more present in my movement. more tuned into my body, and more committed to recovery. Cannabis doesn't need to be a guilty pleasure or a secret indulgence. It can be a tool for wellness, performance, and peace of mind. But the key is intention. When you approach it with clarity and purpose, cannabis can become something far more useful. Let's set the record straight. The idea that cannabis leads to laziness doesn't match reality. Not for me, and not for millions of other people who incorporate it into their active lifestyles. In fact, a growing number of athletes, trainers, and wellness pros are speaking up about how cannabis fits into their routines that include cardio, strength training, yoga, and even extreme sports. It helps with everything from inflammation to anxiety to sleep. You might ask yourself why. And the simple answer is your endocannabinoid system. This complex network of receptors in your body helps regulate stress, mood, pain, and recovery. Cannabinoids like THC and CBD interact with this system in ways that can enhance both physical performance and mental balance. Of course, this doesn't mean that you can puff your way to a six-pack, but it does mean cannabis might help you better manage the journey to get there. Everyone is different, but here's a look at how I've built cannabis into my personal wellness rhythm over the years. Before a workout, find the zone, quiet the noise. I don't always use cannabis before training, but when I do, it's for a reason. Maybe I've had a stressful day and need to help shifting gears. Maybe I'm dragging and need to spark focus. A low-dose sativa-dominant pre-roll or a microdose tincture around 2 to 3 milligrams of THC is enough to bring my attention to the task at hand without feeling cloudy. This is less about performance enhancement and more about mental clarity and reducing the noise of life. If I'm on a long run or a hike, a light edible sometimes helps me to ease into the flow. Nothing too heavy, 5 milligrams or less, enough to help me stay connected to my breath, the rhythm of my stride, and the natural world around me. There's something meditative about movement when cannabis is involved. It helps you feel instead of force.
I love that.
After training, your recovery is where progress happens. This is where cannabis truly shines for me. I use THC and CBD topicals on sore muscles, especially after lifting or intense cardio. A 1-to-1 tincture in the evening helps me wind down, reduce inflammation, and sleep deeply. Good recovery makes good workouts possible. People love to focus on what you do at the gym, but the real transformation often happens between sessions, and cannabis can play a quiet yet powerful role in that process. If you're curious about pairing cannabis with fitness but don't know where to start, here are a few things that I've learned the hard way so you don't have to. Start small and listen. Microdosing is your friend, especially before physical activity. Try 1 to 2 milligrams and see how you feel. You can always add more, but you can't undo a dose that is too strong. Know why you're reaching for it. Don't just use cannabis out of habit. Ask yourself, what do I need today? Focus, recovery, relief, and then pick the product and strain that fits the moment. Track what you used, how much, and what the outcome was, physically and mentally. Everyone's endocannabinoid system is different, and dialing in your dose takes self-awareness. Whether you're lighting a joint before yoga or applying a balm after a HIIT class, your environment matters. Lighting, sound, mood, it all shapes the experience. Cannabis isn't a shortcut. It won't make up for poor sleep or skipped workouts. It's a tool, not a crutch. The goal is to integrate it into a balanced routine, not lean on it to replace effort. For me, cannabis is less about zoning out and more about zoning in. It helps me feel more present in my body, less reactive to stress, and more open to the process. And I see this in customers, friends, and other folks who use cannabis as part of a healthy, balanced lifestyle. We're past the point of pretending cannabis only belongs at parties or puts you on the couch. It belongs in your gym bag. You don't have to be a bodybuilder or a yoga teacher to feel the difference. You just have to be curious and committed to learning what works for you. Start by asking how cannabis might support your wellness goals.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
When we were working out really like a good, 3 years? We were working out 4 years. We were working out. You and I.
A long time.
Mrs. Weedman and I were lifting partners.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't just we lifted. I mean, Mrs. Weedman was solid. She was I was a personal trainer for a few years till I got in my car accident, and she was my best student. And I will tell you this: Mrs. Weedman was weighing $115, bench pressing 125 2 times. Everybody out there, just so you know, she bench pressed over her weight. And I think you did 135 for one time too. One time I had you do that.
I think I did.
We used to stack. Boxes.
The plyo boxes.
Plyo boxes. We were at this gym one time working out, and I had a 3 stack, and I made it. I got it done one time. And then I set it up for Mrs. Weedman, the 2 stack, and everybody's like, no way. They were doubting you. And guess what? Fucking one badass fucking tough woman right across from me did it. Every guy in the gym was like, I can't do that. I'm like, that's right, motherfuckers, right there.
There was a lot of like mental talk before you make that jump, though.
None of the women were like, but the men were like, what did I just see?
I liked when I used to do like dumbbell curls or dumbbell like butterfly presses, and I'd have 35-pound dumbbells, and
Ms. Weedman killed it.
Guys wouldn't stop what they were doing, but they would like side eye.
Oh yeah, Ms. Weedman was ripped, shredded. I mean, she used to be able to do pull-ups with some weight attached to her calf here and there, her legs every once in a while. You had some people like highly impressed when you were at that gym. I mean,
we used to run around that gym like lunatics.
We worked out for 2 hours.
You would have thought we were training for like.
We could have.
I don't know what we were training for.
Because it was great.
But
we loved it.
But we were training like we were conditioning to like compete in something.
We should have. We probably could have. We used to do the outdoor stuff too, back when the ropes weren't really that big, and we were doing all
flipping tires, like semi-truck tractor tires.
Yeah, Miss Weedman was
the
badass.
Ropes.
Can I say the B word one time?
What?
You were a badass bitch. You were.
I felt like a sausage. Like I just always felt like I couldn't put my arms down. My lats were too big. I just felt beefy.
The striations
like
in your upper chest were like. One time I look, I was like, "Holy fuck, she's ripped."
I remember one time my sister's like, "What's wrong with your chest?" I was like, "I don't know what." She's like, "Oh, ooh." I was like, "Oh, it's muscle." I had like the split with like the pecs and like full on pecs and like huge lats.
Oh, you were fucking shredded. You were doing my workout.
I wasn't ripped. I wasn't ripped though. I always wished that I had dieted down one time. Yeah, like just for a minute.
Oh, you would have been ripped if you would have dieted. Because we were eating like 6 meals a day. I mean, I put our.
I could not eat enough.
I put our meal plan together, and I put our workout together for the whole week.
Oh my
and
gosh.
we would eat 6 meals a day. And we would fucking work out 2 hours a day, and we'd come home and we had kids still, and I worked and you worked, and we fucking still we'd go for a run late at night. We were fucking on fuego for like 4 years.
We'd go bike riding, we'd go walking.
Oh yeah, we did the hill, the stairs at Swallow Cliff.
We'd go hiking all the time.
Oh my god, we were shredded. Now,
kayaking.
You weren't smoking weed back then.
No,
no.
Like on occasion.
Yeah, but you weren't smoking regularly.
Yeah.
Would you think weed would have helped you at the gym more? Or would you have smoked on a regular, or would you have taken a tincture or anything like that? Afterwards, yes, but I'm talking about like for a workout.
I think it would have helped for recovery for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I didn't, everybody knows I never smoked. I smoked weed one time when I worked out and never did it again.
You got stuck under the.
So afterwards, yeah, in the car driving home or something, hell yeah, but not before.
I will hit a joint before I go work out. But if I consume too much before I work out, that's not good. There is like a fine balance between, what's good, what works, and what doesn't work.
There you go.
For me, anyway.
Fine balance. I like that.
Fine balance.
So this is cool. CBD improves cognitive decline associated with aging, this study shows. So this is a fresh study, hot off the presses, came out sometimes August of 2025. from Marijuana Moment was digging into how CBD, that chill, non-intoxicating cannabinoid, might actually help with cognitive decline tied to aging. And the results, let's say they're hella promising, Ms. Weedman. Researchers from the University of Lethbridge and McGill University, backed by the Canadian Institutes of Health Research, glided into the lab with some old mice, 19 of them to be exact. 10 mice got daily doses of CBD, while 9 got a placebo over 7 smooth months. Next, they put these mice through behavioral tests to check memory, coordination, motor skills, and even fear conditioning. The result, the CBD-treated mice crushed it on both visual memory tasks, the novel object recognition test, that is, and spatial learning. That means the peripheral cortex of the hippocampus were functioning like they were back in their prime. Excuse me, everybody. Plus, pathology showed reduced inflammation in key brain regions, especially in the hippocampus, the memory meister region tied to age-related dementia. So you have fewer brain fires, more brain flow. Now check this out. Authors even hinted that combining THC and terpenoids with CBD might crank those benefits even higher. Full spectrum vibes. And here's where the plot gets sticky, dicky, icky. This isn't happening in a vacuum. Other recent studies, like the big federally funded one, shows cannabis users often flex superior performances across multiple cognitive domains. Their brains act younger. Their thinking stays sharp. Even human data chimed in. Folks using cannabis report lower odds of subjective cognitive decline, meaning less confusion and memory loss compared to non-users. So still hold up. Don't treat this as the gospel, though. These are lab mice, not humans. And dosage delivered method, long-term follow-ups, all that still needs more time. And what, Mrs. Weedman? Research. But man, what a vibe. This could open doors to practical age-defying CBD blends for the real-world minds. Pretty cool. So next time you're puffing or vaping or chilling with that CBD tincture, you might be doing more than just mellowing out. You could be giving your brain a little age-defying hug.
Yay.
Yay. Yay, weed.
Hug. Mr. Weedman. The Kush.
It is.
The Kush.
So we talk about edibles a lot. We love edibles.
Yes.
And we've talked about this, I think, before, but just always good about more research we find. We want to make sure you're all out there knowledgeable about it. So how long do marijuana edibles stay in your system?
Yeah, this is a good article because it talks a little bit about that, how it stays in your system for testing and how it stays in your system just on consumption and a cause-effect kind of way. So marijuana-infused food products or edibles are a popular alternative to smoking. However, they take longer to kick in and can stay in your system longer, with detection times varying based on how often you use edibles and the type of drug test being used. The way you consume marijuana also makes a difference in how quickly THC reaches your system. THC from smoking enters the bloodstream faster than THC from edibles. However, drug tests generally do not distinguish between smoking and consumption of edibles, so detection times are not reported by method of use. Urine tests are generally the preferred method of drug testing to check for marijuana use. THC can be found in the highest concentration for the longest amount of time in urine. It can typically be detected in urine for up to 30 days. This can depend on how frequently you use it, though. One study in teenagers found that THC could be found in urine for up to 1 week in occasional users and for up to 1 month in those who used marijuana every day. Testing for marijuana in saliva can be done with a mouth swab on the inside of the cheek or tongue. This method is not as commonly used as urine. THC can generally be found in saliva for up to 48 hours. Blood tests are not often used to detect marijuana since it stays in the bloodstream for a short time. Marijuana can typically be detected in a blood test for about 2 to 12 hours, making blood tests more common in emergency settings rather than routine drug testing. Hair tests have the longest detection window of any method. Marijuana can be often detected in scalp hair for up to 90 days. Hair testing is most reliable for people who use marijuana daily or almost daily, as it is less likely to pick up occasional use. Because of this, hair testing is better for showing patterns of long-term or frequent marijuana use rather than one-time or occasional use. When you eat marijuana edibles, it goes through your digestive system before reaching your bloodstream. In the liver, THC is broken down into byproducts such as 11-hydroxy-THC, which is more potent and stays in your body longer. About 65% of the THC you ingest eventually leaves through your stool, and about 20% through your urine. Most is cleared within about 5 days, but a small amount, about 10 to 20%, can remain in your system longer because THC is stored in body fat and is slowly released over time. The effects of an edible can last up to several hours, with peak blood levels of THC occurring within about 3 hours. Studies show that THC's half-life, which is the time it takes for about half of the substance to be removed from the body, is about 1 to 3 days in occasional users and 5 to 13 days in chronic long-term users. This means marijuana might take about 5 to 15 days or 25 to 70 days to completely clear from your system. When you smoke marijuana, you will typically notice effects within 6 to 10 minutes. However, edibles can take 1 to 3 hours to kick in because they must first be absorbed through the liver and into the blood. Due to this delay, people sometimes think an edible isn't working and end up taking larger amounts, which can lead to overconsumption. What's more, some edibles contain more THC than labeled, which can cause stronger and longer-lasting effects. So, key is to know what you're consuming and how long you want to feel the effects. And we always say, start low and go slow.
Go slow.
Go slow.
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 Slower, the better.
Like a turtle. turtle.
Political, state, and business news. Maine cannabis scene is getting saturated. Dispensary count jumped nearly 20%, but average weekly sales per report plummeted 17%. Oof. Total sales still steady at just over 5 million, around 420 vibes. More shops, same weed dollars, spreads it thin, like a dank blunt. Market's growing, but each store's share is getting slimmer. Federal bigwigs are ordering a cannabis audit. Over 20 states allow audit use. 35 plus let people medicate. The House Appropriations Committee is telling the TTB and PALs to check out how states regulate weed, share data, and enforce the rules. Expect a full report back within 1 year. So stay tuned. We'll see what the federal government has to say in the state vibe check. The federal vibes are wild. The USDA is underestimating hemp's worth, mixing cheap biomass price with pricey floral value. That's Matt totally bending the numbers, making hemp look weak when it's not. Investors misread the game. Farmers got cold-shouldered, and policy gets whacked. Real value, floral hemp's around $330 a pound. Not some blended average. Time to fix the math and spark the real growth. Oregon, about to roll out cannabis social lounges, folks. The state's attorney general just approved the ballot title for measures aiming to legalize these spaces by 2026. Adults 21 and up could chill, vape, and smoke in digested lounges. Ooh, we like Oregon as Weedman, don't we? But no one cite cannabis sales, just unmedicated snacks. Local governments can set limits, and the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission would oversee the scene. Stay tuned, Oregon. Ooh, Miss Weedman. Teamsters Local 916 just scored another win at Ascend Cannabis in Barrie, Illinois. A solid 282 workers from cultivation to quality assurance have voted to join the union. This marks the third group at Ascend to unite under the Teamsters banner. President J.P. Fevins says, when workers stand together, they have the power to transform their workplace. Good luck, Ascend. A new Emerson College poll shows that 65% of American voters support nationwide marijuana legalization, up 5% from last October. Democrats lead at 79%. followed by independent at 66%, and Republicans at 49%. Support is strong across all age groups except for those 70 and older. Meanwhile, President Trump is considering rescheduled cannabis. Could this be the tipping point for federal reform? We'll see. Nebraska activists just filed a bold 2026 ballot measure aiming to enshrine a constitutional right for adults 21 and up to sell cannabis, to use all cannabis plants. The one linear reads, all persons 21 years of age or older have the right to use all plants in the genus cannabis. If they gather enough signatures, this could be the fifth attempt since 2018 to legalize recreational marijuana in the state. You got to get your fucking med stuff going, though, too. I'm going to read this now. Nebraska's Medical Cannabis Commission just approved new rules that limit the states to 12 dispensaries, four cultivators.
For the whole state.
For the whole state. But here's the kicker. And I talked about this, I think, a week ago. No cannabis flower or edibles allowed. Sounds like where, Mrs. Weedman? Alabama?
With their suppositories.
Roll Tide. Instead, patients will have to settle up for tinctures, capsules, and topicals. Advocates are calling it a drastic departure from what the voters approved last year. The rules aren't final yet. Governor Jim Pillion still needs to sign off, and you're going to be waiting probably a long time for him to sign off on any of this. He is not a cannabis fan. And his lieutenant governor, also not a cannabis fan. Jerk-offs. Delaware cannabis market is off to a blazing start. $7.4 million in sales during August alone. Flower led the charge with $4 million in purchases. Vapes, edibles, tinctures, and topicals also strong demand. The state's marijuana commissioner called the launch a smooth rollout, signaling a solid foundation for the industry. With 79 conditional licenses issued, Delaware cannabis scene is growing strong. Tired of the same old beer taps? Wisconsin bars are switching it up with on-tap THC-infused drinks. Pharos Brands is leading the charge, offering 5 milligram doses of hemp-derived THC in every pour. These beverages provide a mild, approachable way to relax without alcohol. As alcohol sales soften, taverns are embracing the new trend, filling unused tap lines and attracting curious consumers. A UC San Diego study reveals that Delta-8 THC use is highest in states where marijuana is illegal, and Delta-8 sales are unregulated. Adults in these states are about twice as likely to have tried Delta-8 compared to those in states with legal cannabis. The study highlights how policy gaps can push consumers toward less regulated alternatives. Alderman Andre Vasquez has blocked the Keynes Group cannabis dispensary proposal in Chicago's 40th Ward. The ownership group includes 10, get this, Mrs. Weedman, 10 former POPO officers, raising concerns among residents about fairness and justice. Despite Kanye's plans to include community trust in educational seminars, Vasquez said, there's just something fundamentally unfair and unjust about it. I fucking agree 100%. I want to know if those 10 cops ever arrested anybody for cannabis. And not even selling it.
Right.
Just for having a joint in their hand.
Right.
So the zoning request was not approved, halting the project. I want to know. I would love to talk to these 10 coppers and be like, what gives you the fucking right to think that you should own a fucking dispensary? Mm-hmm. Oh, I smoked in high school? Then you wouldn't have got the job as a police officer because that's a question on the test. Mm-hmm. So you wouldn't have gotten. So let me tell you something, Mr. Coppers. I want to know how many people you busted and were assholes to because you smoked weed and you decided to give
ruin someone's life.
Right. So I hope you never get it.
For just possession. We're not talking about like if there were crimes of
right.
Like just possession
just
of like
joint.
Personal weed.
Right. Or having a bag of weed on them. And you think you deserve to own a dispensary? Get the fuck out of here with that noise. That's all I got to say about that, Mr. Weedman. Mm-hmm. Now over to you. Tell us more.
All right. I've got more political, state, and business news. Charles Fain Lehman argues that loosening federal marijuana regulations could lead to increased public health risks. particularly related to marijuana-induced psychosis. The catalyst for his concern is a recent mass shooting at the Minneapolis Catholic School, where the 23-year-old perpetrator, Robin Westman, partially blamed marijuana and gender experimentation for his mental breakdown. Lehman City cites multiple studies linking cannabis use, particularly among adolescents, to increased risks of psychosis and schizophrenia. And I believe there are more studies that say it doesn't.
Yes.
But just saying. A recent poll reveals that in legal states, the mental health reporting numbers are down. Mental health has lessened in states that have legal cannabis, recreational cannabis. And emergency room intake for mental health, like psychosis and schizophrenia, has not increased, and also in states where cannabis is recreationally legal. So if it causes so much psychosis, you'd see those numbers change.
Right.
In the wrong way.
Good fucking journalism, as we
Just saying. In a very mumble-bumbly, slow way. Thanks to the Kush here.
We love Kushes in this house.
Yeah, you might have to listen to the podcast this week on like 1 time speed or 2 times speed.
1.5 speed.
We got turtle brains right now. All right. A recent poll reveals that 97% of marijuana business leaders believe federal rescheduling is crucial for their long-time viability. However, optimism remains low, with the average expectation for rescheduling happening this year at just 34%. Despite President Trump's endorsement, uncertainty looms, leaving the industry in a holding pattern. Will 2025 be the year of change or just another year of waiting? Probably. Okay, a small vacation resort area in Michigan has emerged, we know this, as one of the top markets for marijuana sales. Downtown New Buffalo has a New England feel. Despite its modest size, the region's cannabis industry is thriving, attracting both tourists and locals. This surge in demand highlights the growing acceptance and popularity of marijuana, even in traditionally conservative areas. It's a testament to how cannabis is becoming a staple in various communities. In a surprising move, Republican lawmakers are pushing to expand marijuana waivers for military recruits and allow service members to legally use hemp products. Representatives Dave Joyce and Tony Gonzalez have filed amendments to the National Defense Authorization Act, aiming to broaden enlistment opportunities for those with past cannabis use and clarify that hemp-derived products are permissible for military personnel. Texas lawmakers have adjourned. Yeah, right?
This is actually a big deal.
Yes, this is. Texas lawmakers have adjourned, that doesn't sound right, their second special session without passing a ban on intoxicating hemp products, making a third failed attempt by Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick to outlaw THC-infused goods. Governor Greg Abbott vetoed a similar ban in June, advocating instead for regulated hemp products. All right.
Saved an $8 billion industry.
Yeah. Former Trump advisor Kellyanne Conway is reportedly the biggest champion of marijuana rescheduling within the president's inner circle. All right, Kellyanne.
Tell them
get
just
busy.
To decriminalize it.
Yeah.
Take it off the schedule.
Yeah. According to Republican Brian Mast, while President Trump has expressed support for moving cannabis from Schedule 1 to 3, Conway's active role in advancing this initiative is noteworthy, especially considering her prior skepticism about marijuana legalization. Charlotte's Web CBD brand is ramping up its game by forming a scientific advisory board led by Dr. Marcel Bond-Miller. The board will steer research, clinical initiatives, and product development, focusing on patient-centered solutions. They're also rolling out continuing medical education content for healthcare professionals. This move underscores Charlotte Webb's commitment to evidence-based, plant-powered wellness.
Can I say one thing about them?
Yes.
Remember your article you read about kids and cannabis?
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte's Web.
Yeah. Yep.
Charlotte Figge.
had, yes, a seizure disorder.
Yeah. And if it wasn't for them helping her, she would have died even
It
sooner.
like greatly improved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So
And she didn't die from her condition.
Right.
Thanks to the products and
Yep.
CBD.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, such a sad story. It's not even just that it's not a story. It's like
Someone's life.
it's their life.
Mhm.
Yeah. And they were just so passionate in creating a better life for their daughter. It was very cool. Pretty moving. And they still continue to fight for the laws and legalities.
Yep.
Yes. All right. Maryland's cannabis market is thriving, generating over $18 million in tax revenue from April to June 2025. The state has allocated these funds to various initiatives, including the Community Reinvestment and Repair Fund, Cannabis Public Health Fund, and Cannabis Business Assistance Fund. Counties and municipalities also received a share to support local strategies and initiatives related to the cannabis industry's growth and management. Whew, dry mouth. Di Lorenzo's Pizza, a legendary New Jersey pizzeria, is trading dough for buds temporarily. They're closing for renovations to add a cannabis dispensary. Once reopened, patrons can enjoy a slice and a sesh. Talk about a highly anticipated combo. Stay tuned for more on this unique fusion of flavors and vibes. The Department of Transportation is updating its drug testing guidelines to align with the United States Department of Health and Human Services. They're specifying Delta-9 THC instead of just THC to distinguish it from other cannabinoids like Delta-8. This change aims to harmonize federal terminology and enhance clarity in drug testing protocols. Okay. Mississippi's medical cannabis program is gaining momentum with an average of 50 new patient cards issued daily. The state's active cardholders have increased from approximately 40,000 in June of 24 to 50,000 by August of 25. This growth is attributed to word-of-mouth recommendations and the program's accessibility, with 25 qualifying medical conditions, including chronic pain, making it easier for residents to benefit from medical cannabis. And that's it from me, Mr. Weedman. It's back to you.
Thank you. More political state and business news. Cannabis sales in August showed a modest uptick of 0.5%, totaling $2.2 billion across 15 states. However, when adjusted for per day sales, there was a slight decline of 2.7%. While some states like California saw positive growth, others like Michigan experienced a 9.0% drop year over year. That's pricing, everybody. Overall, the market performance remains steady. So I'm going to read you some numbers here of each state and what they did that month. So Arizona did 88 million. California, 404 million. Colorado, 113 million. Nevada, 68 million. Their annual growth right now is down 13%. Arizona's down 10%. Colorado's down 7.1%. California's up actually 1.4%. Oregon, 80 million. They're down 4.2%. But their growth, their sequential growth for that month, though, that everybody was up. Not by much, but they were up. So the eastern markets, ready? Florida, not even just medical, 228 million. 2%, 2.5% annual growth. Illinois, 160 million. They were down 0.7% versus last year. I remember last year, August was a huge month. And they're down right now, and your growth is down 6.2%. It's because you're in price compression mode right now. Maryland, 92 million. Down, though, 7.7%. Up for the month, though, 1.4%. Massachusetts, 159 million. Down 2.7%, but up for the month, 3.1%. Big numbers. For a state that wants to do away with decriminalization. Michigan, 268 million. They're down overall. Annual growth is down 9%. They were down last month, 2.1%. Missouri, 124 million. Annual growth is only negative 1.7%. Jersey, 93 million. They're down 0.8%, both annual and sequential. New York, 131 million. They're the big dogs because they're new and they got more dispensaries opening up, and it's 3% growth right now and a 989.6% annual growth. Ohio, 90
Wow.
million. They were down last month, though, for the first time at 0.8%, but up annual growth is 10%. New recreational market. Pennsylvania, only med, 120 million. Annual growth is right now is 13%,
Wow.
with the monthly sequential growth at 2.9%. That's some big numbers. So Missouri's cannabis market remains strong, with average dispensary transactions around $65 above the national average. While flower still leads sales, pre-rolls, especially infused ones, are gaining popularity. Industry experts attribute the stability to disciplined operators and a favorable regulatory environment. Despite national pricing pressures, Missouri's market continues to thrive, offering consumers quality and consistency. But I'm going to tell you a little secret about the Missouri market. 85% of those dispensaries are owned by 4 companies. One of them, the family of Walmart, owns 73 of them, or 74 of them. Walmart family owns.
They're in the cannabis game.
Yes. They own 74 fucking dispensaries in Missouri, and they're buying more every day.
Fuck. They're literally going to be Walmart weed.
It's called Green Relief or Green Leaf or some shit.
Walmart weed.
Yeah, basically that's what you're smoking.
Wow.
They know how to run a business, though. They're successful at what they do, but
They know how to scale.
I just
Scale operations.
Yep. 74 of them.
Why though? I mean, can't they just mind their own, stay in their own lane?
Well, it's probably the family that has money. $20 billion
Well,
each of the family get every year.
Stick to your Walmart game. You're good. You're good. Let the others have a little opportunity.
They say no, I guess. So
They
they fucking own Missouri right now. Massachusetts Attorney General Adra J. Campbell has certified 2 ballot measures for 2026 election that aims to recriminalize recreational marijuana sales. The proposals would eliminate the commercial adult use market while maintaining medical cannabis access and allowing adults to possess up to an ounce of marijuana. The measures are spearheaded by Carolina Cunningham, who previously opposed a psychedelics legislation initiative. So, Joe Campbell has certified 2 ballot measures now. Remember last episode or 2 episodes ago, I read this was coming? Mm-hmm. Well, now they got it on the ballot.
Wow.
This Massachusetts, the sales that I just read that you did can go
in the shitter.
So, I don't get it. President Trump is considering rescheduling cannabis, which would unlock federal research, investment, and tax incentives. This would align the U.S. with European markets like Germany and Switzerland, where cannabis is gaining traction. U.S. companies may need EU GMP certifications and local partnerships to navigate these markets effectively. As the U.S. market evolves, international opportunities are on the horizon. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's office is urging lawmakers to halt the introduction of competing marijuana legalization bills. Instead, the advocate for building consensus is to ensure any future legislation includes equity provisions. This approach aims to streamline the legalization process and address challenges in balancing adult use legalization with maintaining patient access under the state's existing medical marijuana program. Cannabis retailers are embracing tech-driven loyalty programs to enhance customer engagement. Platforms like Dutchie and Sweet offer integrated solutions combining point-of-sale systems, e-commerce and marketing tools. Deep Roots Harvest and The Source in Nevada have adopted tiered models, rewarding customer based on spending, resulting in 95 to 96% of purchases made by loyalty members. That's crazy. These programs mirror airline models, offering cashback rates and points redemption for discounts. Yeah, I mean, every dispensary in Illinois that I know of has a loyalty program, and some of them have really good loyalty programs. I mean, like, you get some shit if you're loyal, you know? Congresswoman Dina Titus says federal marijuana policy is at a standstill. As President Trump weighs rescheduling cannabis, Titus, co-chair of the Congressional Cannabis Caucus, emphasizes the need to expand research opportunities amid state legalization movements. Despite Trump's endorsement of rescheduling during his campaign, uncertainty remains about the administration's next step. Rev Clinics, once a cannabis powerhouse in Massachusetts, is now a receivership from 32,997% growth rate in 2021 to facing over $20 million in debt and federal tax audit. The company's rapid rise was matched by a swift fall. Their Fitchburg facility is up for lease, and their Leo Minister dispensary is set to be sold for around $500,000. House Republicans, led by Representative James Comer, are moving to repeal D.C.'s Second Chance Amendment Act, which mandates automatic expungements of pre-2015 marijuana possession records. Comer cites a commitment to restoring law and order in the Capitol. The move aligns with President Trump's border agenda to address local law enforcement concerns. The House Oversight Committee is set to vote on the repeal this week. And that is the news, everybody. There's a new dawn. There's a new day. There's a new life for the femme stoner.
Wow.
How women are becoming cannabis culture's new queens. This is by cannabis.net. Tell us about him as
I
Weedman.
am super fidgety because my neck hurts really bad.
Smoke more
and
weed.
I need to smoke more weed.
Yes, will you light that up for a
Yeah,
second?
I'm going to light that up.
Yeah, smoke break, everybody. Everybody light up your joints with us as we light up.
Can't even sit still over here. Struggling. I'm on
Struggle
the
is real.
struggle bus today, people. It just, we all have those days.
We have a friend that gives us really good weed.
Yeah.
We'll be smoking a couple of his new strains on the next couple episodes. And he said I went to go grab some samples from him for the show, and he said, Mrs. Weedman's been on fire lately. I said, "You're damn right she has."
I've just been so baked. Just letting shit flow.
Oh, you'd probably love if I mentioned
You
his
know, they
name.
say about your 50s that you just are like, you're at that point where you just don't fucking give a fuck. I'm there. I do. I mean, I give enough of a fuck, but I don't give enough of a fuck about a lot of things right now. And it feels pretty fucking good. So if it looks like I'm twitching and geeking out, it's good. I'm just having one of those days. I'm just
one of them days.
had a shitty day today.
Yeah, everybody has one.
Yeah. And then that strain's
10.
just making me like, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Ladies, we are changing the face of cannabis. So last week we talked about how like dispensaries are like debunking like so much of the importance behind what they represent. Like there is no demonstration of the history and the struggle of getting to this legal position, right? It's all about like wellness, like, there's this front on cannabis now that it is just like wellness. And it is, it really is. But there is there is a place that like every dispensary should have some representation of the culture, the true culture of cannabis in a nutshell, somehow, some demonstrate it somewhere, kind of mix the culture and the wellness. Women, why did I go there just now? What was that all about?
You're preaching.
Oh, because last week we talked about how the dispensaries are all about wellness and not about the culture, and we should have more culture. Well, this is about women and the impact that they're having on cannabis, causing that wellness train. It's going, right? Chugga, 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 chugga.
I hear the train a-coming.
Coming around a bend. Oh, that's such a good
I
song.
haven't seen the sunshine. I don't know why.
All right. For 50 years, the image of the typical cannabis user was carved in stone. Male, slacker, probably unemployed, definitely hungry. From Cheech and Chong to Pineapple Express, stoner culture was a boys' club with occasional female sidekicks. But 2024 just shattered that stereotype with data that would make Hollywood rewrite every cannabis comedy. For the first time in half a century of tracking, girls now use marijuana significantly more than boys.
What did you always say?
Girls rule and boys drool.
That's it.
In every grade level. This isn't a statistical blip. It's a seismic shift that nobody saw coming, except maybe Anna Faris in the 2007 film Smiley Face, which now looks less like a stoner comedy and more like a prophetic cinema. The numbers tell a remarkable story. According to the 2024 Monitoring the Future report, female high school students are outpacing their male counterparts in marijuana use across all grades, with the gap widening as students get older. By 12th grade, the difference is substantial and growing. The driving force? Vaping. that discreet, flavorless, rainbow-colored gateway that's made cannabis consumption as socially acceptable as sipping a latte. This shift isn't happening in a vacuum. It coincides with rising rates of anxiety and depression among teenage girls. 57% report persistent sadness compared to 29% of boys. Meanwhile, 40 states have legalized medical marijuana, normalizing cannabis as medicine. For girls dealing with everything from menstrual cramps to social media induced anxiety, a discreet vape pen offers relief without the stigma of traditional smoking. The implications extend far beyond consumption statistics. We're witnessing the potential feminization of cannabis culture. And that means everything changes, from product development to marketing strategies to the very way we think about weed. If women are becoming the primary consumers, expect cannabis companies to start thinking more like cosmetic brands and less like head shops. The stoner bro era is ending and the femme stoner revolution has begun. And just like Anna Faris stumbling through Los Angeles high as a kite, the cannabis industry is about to discover that when women embrace something, they don't just consume it, they transform it entirely. Back in 2007, Smiley Face bombed at the box office. Critics dismissed it as another dumb stoner comedy. Audiences ignored it, and Anna Faris's portrayal of Jane F., a chronically high actress stumbling through a day-long cannabis adventure, seemed like a one-off in a genre dominated by male protagonists. But rewatching Smiley Face today feels like discovering a lost prophecy. While Hollywood was churning out Pineapple Express and Harold and Kumar, the overlooked film was quietly depicting something revolutionary. A female stoner who wasn't a punchline or a prize, but the actual protagonist of her own cannabis journey. Jane F. wasn't the girlfriend getting high to impress her boyfriend or the party girl using weed for wild adventures. She was a fully realized character whose relationship with cannabis was complex, personal, and distinctly feminine. Her high wasn't about bros bonding over bongs. It was about managing anxiety, creative expression, and navigating the mundane absurdities of modern life. Oh, this is like hitting home. Sorry. The film's approach to cannabis consumption was also prophetic. Jane's edibles mishap feels remarkably contemporary given today's market dominance of discrete consumption methods. No smoking circles or elaborate glass pieces, just accidental overconsumption of homemade goods leading to a day of introspective chaos that somehow resolves into self-discovery. What made Smiley Face different was how it portrayed the female cannabis experience without male validation or judgment. Jane wasn't rebelling against anyone or trying to prove anything. She was simply living her life using cannabis as a tool for managing reality rather than escaping it. This authentic portrayal of oh my gosh.
It's clean.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Weedman.
You're welcome.
He handed me a tissue.
I had a clean one in my pocket.
Oh my gosh.
I'm an
You guys
man.
are like seeing full swing Mrs. Weedman having a moment.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
All right.
I'm always all right. Right? I just got to have a moment every once in a while.
Isn't there a song when you cry, the whole world cries with you?
Oh God, please
Well,
don't
we
even
are-
play
we-
it. I'll start sobbing.
We are
and scare
in
everybody.
185 countries around the world, so the whole world's going to be crying with you.
Oh my Lord. Sorry.
80.
I'm also having a hot flash.
Take a breath.
Whew.
Yeah. If you've ever seen Mrs. Weedman laugh cry like I've had, it's not. It's funny, but not
It's
funny.
Kush. Kushes make me emotional.
Cheese strains and Kush
They make
strains.
me like laugh, cry. That's what's happening.
Don't laugh, cry right
No,
now.
I'm not ready to laugh,
Take a deep
cry.
breath.
I just gotta get whatever's in my eye out, and my eyes are like watering up, like half crying. No, I'm not crying. Oh my God, I am like flushed out though.
Isn't that a Frank Sinatra
Holy
song too? When you cry, the whole world cries with you.
I don't know,
think it
Mr.
is.
Weedman. I'm a mess.
Over 8,000 cities around the world. So be crying with you, Ms. Weedman.
Cry with me. Don't cry for me. Okay. This authentic portrayal of female stoner culture felt alien in 2007, but reads as completely natural today. The film also captured something crucial about female cannabis users that current data supports. They're not using it to primarily get high or for fun, like their male counterparts. Jane's cannabis use was functional, emotional, and deeply integrated into her daily existence. She wasn't performing stoner culture. She was inhabiting it. Fast forward to 2024, and Jane F. looks less like an outlier and more like a demographic trend. The discrete consumption methods, the anxiety management, the creative expression, the everyday integration. These elements that seemed quirky in 2007 comedy now represent the mainstream female cannabis experience. Hollywood missed the memo then, but they can't ignore it now. The current crop of cannabis comedies still skews heavily male, but that's about to change. Expect the next wave of cannabis content to look a lot more like Smiley Face, and a lot less like Pineapple Express. The femme stoner isn't coming. She's already here. Vape pen or joint in hand, anxiety managed, and ready to redefine what cannabis culture looks like. Smiley Face wasn't just a movie, it was a preview of the future. The shift toward female cannabis dominance isn't just cultural, it's biological. Women's bodies are literally designed to respond more intensively to cannabis, and understanding this physiology explains why girls are increasingly turning to weed while boys stick to more traditional substances. The endocannabinoid system, our body's natural cannabis network, operates differently in female bodies. Women have higher concentrations of cannabinoid receptors in crucial brain regions, including the hippocampus, striatum, and amygdala. This means when women consume THC, they're not just getting higher, they're getting a fundamentally different neurological experience. Estradiol, the primary female sex hormone, amplifies this effect by increasing dopamine release in response to THC. This creates a more rewarding experience that can lead to faster habituation and, unfortunately, quicker development of tolerance. But it also explains why women often report more pronounced therapeutic effects from cannabis, particularly for anxiety, pain, and mood disorders. This biological sensitivity intersects perfectly with the mental health crisis affecting teenage girls. With 57% of high school girls reporting persistent sadness compared to 29% of boys and double the rates of anxiety and depression, cannabis offers relief that traditional medications often fail to provide. And the discreet nature of vaping makes it particularly appealing to girls who might avoid smoking due to social stigma and health concerns. The hormonal connection runs deeper than just brain chemistry. Women's monthly hormonal fluctuations create windows where cannabis becomes particularly effective for managing symptoms. Many women report that cannabis helps with menstrual cramps, mood swings, and general discomfort of hormonal cycles, applications that simply don't exist for male users. There's also the appetite factor, though not in the way most people think. While the munchies stereotype suggests cannabis increases appetite, many women use it for the opposite effect. Low-dose cannabis can actually suppress appetite and reduce food cravings, particularly appealing to girls dealing with body image issues or eating disorders. It's a complex relationship that highlights how gender differences in cannabis's effects go far beyond simple consumption patterns. Women's enhanced cannabinoid sensitivity means that they need different products than men. Lower dose formulations, specific terpene profiles, and consumption methods designed for discrete use aren't just preferences, they're biological necessities. The cannabis industry is slowly catching on with products marketed to women, emphasizing wellness over recreation, featuring elegant packaging, precise dosing, and targeted effects. It's not just about getting high, it's about functional enhancement of daily life. This biological reality means blah, blah. This biological reality explains why the gender flip in cannabis use might be permanent rather than cyclical. When your body is naturally designed to benefit more from a substance, and that substance helps address gender-specific health challenges, adoption becomes inevitable rather than trendy. The feminization of cannabis culture represents more than just shifting demographics. It's a complete market revolution waiting to happen. When women embrace a product category, they don't just consume it, they transform it entirely. Look at how women reshaped industries like fitness, beauty, even alcohol. What started as male-dominated markets evolved into sophisticated...
Football. Have you noticed how many women now are commentators and on the field commentators, and they're fucking great at it? What do I always say? Women will rule the world one day. I've been saying that for a long time now.
What started as male-dominated markets evolved into sophisticated ecosystems of targeted products, premium experiences, and lifestyle integration. Cannabis is next. Expect the head shop aesthetic to give way to something resembling high-end wellness boutiques. Products will emphasize precise dosing, specific effects, and discreet consumption. Marketing will shift from getting baked to functional enhancement and self-care ritual. The stoner bro will be replaced by the wellness goddess. This isn't just speculation, it's economics. Women control roughly 80% of household purchasing decisions and are willing to pay premium prices for products that meet their specific needs. A cannabis industry that caters to female physiology, concerns, and consumption preferences isn't just smart business, it's inevitable. The data from 2024 might mark the tipping point, but the trend has been building for years. From CBD beauty products to microdosed edibles, the cannabis industry has been unconsciously preparing for female dominance. Anna Faris was ahead of her time in Smiley Face, but the industry is catching up fast. The dawn of the female stoner isn't coming. It's already here. Weed in hand, anxiety managed, and ready to spend money on products designed specifically for her biology and lifestyle. The future of cannabis is female.
I've been saying it for a while, right? We've been talking about the female trends versus the male trends and how much
the numbers and
not drinking as much.
The biggest
Gen
growth.
Z women is the fastest, and 55
consumer.
and older, two fastest. How long we've been preaching this and talking about this? And I got to say, I love. This wasn't written by Reginald Reefer, but it was somebody else from Cannabis.net. I do have to say they have some. This is Reginald Reefer. It is.
Yeah.
I thought it was somebody else.
It said posted by him though, so I don't know if he actually wrote it.
So, but it's just a great article, and they write they do some really good journalism on that website. So I always try to give Reginald a shout out every time we read one of it. And if he's ever in Chicago, reach out to Mr. and Mrs. Weedman. We'd love to smoke some weed with you, and eat some pizza, and talk some shop, some Southside pizza. So
That'd be fun.
International news. The U.S. Virgin Islands is making waves in the cannabis industry. With recreational use legalized for adults 21 and older, the territory is rolling out a competitive, merit-based licensing process for cultivation, manufacturing, and dispensary operations. Limited licenses are available, and the application process is anticipated to begin Q1 or Q2 of 2025. Residents and local businesses are encouraged to participate in the emerging market. Cannabis legalization is spreading worldwide, each country offering its unique insights. Canada's federal approach contrasts with Germany's medical focus, with Latin America's cultural shift challenges stigma. Africa's emerging markets and Israel's research leadership further diversifies the landscape. Please don't forget about fucking Uruguay in there also. The first country ever to legalize marijuana. These case studies highlights the importance of tailored policies and open-mindedness in shaping the future of cannabis. Understanding these models can inform and inspire global cannabis strategies. And here we're sitting in the United States of fucking America, still fighting if it's a drug or not. and we're still fighting just to get it fucking descheduled. After how many years? 100 years. This plant's been in this state's been fucking demonized, stigmatized, beatenized, robbed, raped, and pillaged. And you got these countries we're just gonna be
just open up shop.
We're done.
Yeah,
we're gonna be forgotten about. They're getting all our genetics. There's companies going over there, bringing their genetics over there. So instead of America being a huge exporter and making money off this plant, we're just gonna fucking be behind just like we do everything else. I digress. Ghana's Narcotics Control Commission is on high alert, warning the public about fraudulent cannabis licensing schemes. Despite recent legislation permitting industrial cannabis cultivation, no licenses have been issued yet. Authorities urge aspiring entrepreneurs to be cautious, avoid falling victim to scams, schemers, and suits. Stay informed and ensure you're dealing with legitimate channels as the industry begins to take shape. The upcoming Telugu film Ati, starring Anushka Shetty and directed by Kush Lumandi, is facing backlash from Telangana's anti-narcotics unit. The trailer's depiction of cannabis cultivation and consumption has raised concerns about promoting drug-related activities. Authorities are urging filmmakers to include statutory warnings and reconsider content to avoid legal repercussions under the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic and Substance Act. 3 Albanian men were sentenced to Glasgow for operating an industrial-scale cannabis farm and former shopping center. Police discovered 3,058 plants valued between 600,000 and 1.8 million pounds, I believe. Judge Lord Mulan remarked, "I don't think I've ever seen so many cannabis plants in one place." All 3 pleaded guilty with sentencing ranging from 5 to 6 years. Wan Zu Nguyen, a 59-year-old Vietnamese national, was arrested in a shed filled with cannabis in Calderwood, south of Wollongong. He pleaded guilty for participating in a criminal group and contributing to a criminal act. Magistrate Lucas Swan described the case as modern-day slavery, highlighting the exploitation of foreign nationals and illegal operations. Nugent is set to be deported after serving his sentence. As Colombia gears for 2026 elections, presidential hopeful Gustavo Bolívar reignites the debate on drug legalization. He argues that legalizing cannabis is the only way to combat drug trafficking, citing the U.S. model where legalization led to reduced crime and increased tax revenue. Bolivar emphasizes that without legalization, Colombia remains a victim of global drug demand. The debate intensifies as the election approaches. The UK Food Standard Agency has launched a public consultation to authorize the first CBD food products as novel foods. The move supports the government's growing agenda by allowing businesses with approval products to reformulate and develop new brands and product lines. Currently, no CBD food products have legal authorization in the UK. Thailand's Department of Thai Traditional and Alternative Medicine now limits medical cannabis to 5 conditions: insomnia, chronic pain, migraines, Parkinson's, and appetite loss. Everybody's going to say that.
Wow.
I'm fucking hungry. Patients need prescriptions. Dispensaries must be licensed and sourced from certified farms. No online sales or vending machines. The government is training staff and linking prescriptions to central database, while the market worth 36 billion baht braces for stricter standards. What did I say a long time ago, Miss Weedman, about Thailand? What did I say?
They don't fuck it up.
Don't fuck it
up. But they did.
My gosh. And the new president they elected, he was the one that was in favor of cannabis in the beginning, and now he's changed it. This is just a fucked up situation over there. What's the capital of Thailand? What's the capital of Thailand?
Bangkok.
And you fucked it up.
Why?
No, not you.
Oh, it's like, what did I do wrong?
Thailand.
I'm sensitive today, Mr. Weedman.
Sorry. You fucked it up. And I've said it for how many years now? Don't fuck it up. Now I just got to say you fucked it up. And you lower your med program has just gone to
Garbage.
Shit. Oh my God. This is probably going to be my favorite article of the day. Only because I'm going to nerd out on all of you. I'm nerdy on you. I've been talking about this since I was working on the episode last night. Ms. Weedman came down to smoke a joint with me. And I said, I'm so excited about this article that you're going to do to end the show, but we're going to smoke for this one.
Yeah, we're going to smoke to this. And I just don't want to light my face on fire.
And I went through this whole article with her, and I was super excited because what we're going to talk about here, I'm going to super nerdiness on you all, and nerds are cool, don't forget. And this is we're gonna end this show with this. This is just. Oh, I'm so excited about talking about this.
Okay.
About this because I'm looking forward for people responding on.
Am I going
comments.
first?
This is yours. So, a new
You're
golden
chiming in, though.
age for stoner kidults. I guess we're called kidults.
Kidults.
The boom in animated psychedelia for grown-ups. Now, Mrs. Weedman's going to read the article from High Times about this, but then Mr. Weedman's going to nerd out on you and all these cool psychedelic stoner anime cartoons from like the 1960s to the 80s. Go ahead, Ms. Weedman.
All right.
Tell us about it.
Weed smoke permeates every inch of the room. We ought to light a candle to The Simpsons and to South Park and Family Guy too. Give credit where credit's due. They smuggled in a blend of satirical, zesty, provocative themes. At this point, cartoons are no longer just for kids, though. There's sex, violence, politics, dark humor, social critique, and tangled plot lines. Add to that the success of works like Rick and Morty, BoJack Horseman, and Big Mouth, among others, which dragged us into cosmic, drug-fueled realities with narratives steeped in acid. Are we living through a new boom in psychedelic animation for adults? From a historic lens, psychedelia had been simmering since the 1930s, when a surge of creative freedom allowed moments of surrealism. There are masterpieces by both the Fleischer brothers and Disney brothers. Look at Betty Boop, Mickey Mouse, and you find wildly creative, free, and unrestrained moments, which unfortunately got cut short by the Hays Code and censorship creeping into the United States, notes Thomas Elashev, journalist and cartoon expert. The Times rising wave of Puritanism significantly stifled the genre's growth and pushed animation toward more metaphorical fables, with sly nods to adult themes while brushing up against sex, alcohol, tobacco, addiction, coffee, and obviously weed. The first clearly stoner cartoon character was Lento Rodriguez, Speedy Gonzalez's cousin. Remember him? Elishev points out. After Disney's classic era, Hanna-Barbera took over animation, and beyond its endless doses of fun, it worked as a cultural machine to sell toys and merchandise. Still, it wasn't until the late 70s and early 80s that animation for adults began walking on solid ground, with films such as Heavy Metal and Fritz the Cat, oozing with the era's vibes of parties, orgies, flashbulbs, chemicals, and a sharp snapshot of counterculture. Meanwhile, in the mainstream, Yellow Submarine with the Beatles at their trippiest, The Wall, and the Pink Panther, they all brought their own dose of psychedelia.
Pink Panther was amazing.
Then came The Simpsons, the controversies, the improper jokes, the hallucinatory bits that defined the 90s. It was then that the kid-adult phenomenon began to take shape, with grown-ups heavily buying action figures, hoarding Marvel comics, and devouring pop culture with abandon. MTV was key too, with Ion Flux and Liquid Television hooking teens and adults of the time, says Ilishev. The 20s then arrived with Shrek, Pixar, DreamWorks, Adult Swim, and the rise of Otaku Vanguard. Animation is something that is increasingly consumed and without age limit. In that sense, there's a legitimization of watching animation. Love, Death, and Robots is an example of how high adult animation can go, Elishev points out. So why are more and more studios making animation targeted explicitly at adults? It's a mix of factors, said Juan Manuel Lavolpe, director of the Techno Nerd, Site 421. First, watching animation is no longer taboo. The audience grows older but still chases that place that once made them feel happy. We went from Dragon Ball and X-Men to Dragon Ball Super and X-Men 97. Many studios are run by animators, directors, and writers who grew up on animation and are now making pilots and even dipping into the underground scene. And lastly, millennials. They grew up with 24-hour cartoon channels and are now over 30 with disposable income. So there's room for these products to be profitable. Among the standout works of recent years, One Piece ultimately took a leap in quality and set the pace for contemporary Japanese animation. Attack on Titan has become the La Volpe's words, the anime that managed to break through the otaku barrier and reach casual viewers. Meanwhile, down in the experimental underground, Wanma is betting on Punch Punch Forever, a series that parodies classic fight anime and currently has 3 episodes on YouTube. However, some dare the holy father of adult animation, The Simpsons, to retire and even pit the eternal novelty of South Park against the wave of Smiling Friends, the new big thing for midnight stoner cartoon watchers. So, Mr. Weedman, you love your
everything you
cartoons.
read on there. I've watched it
Yes.
all, and so I'm an anime nerd. You can ask Mrs. Weedman. I'm watching 5 different anime right now because they're all in a season. They don't just only put them all on at once. Now I got to wait every week. You know, I hate that. So I'm watching 5 different anime because I'm done with each. I'm caught up on all of them, and I'm waiting for the next episode to come out. I am a huge, and I have been. And here's some. Mrs. Weedman read a few on here, but I'm going to go through the list of what hooked me in anime probably from the day I was fucking 2 years old, 3 years old. From the first, maybe 5, the first one I truly remembered, like that hit me to where I was like, I'm in love, with anime. So there's one from 1962. I think I saw this, but I don't really remember it all. It's called Heaven and Earth Magic, rated by Harry Smith. A black and white avant-garde film is pure, unfiltered surrealism made from stop-motion animated cutout photographs. It's a stream of consciousness narratives and is a hallmark of experimental underground animation. So this is 1962, if you can find it. One of my all-time favorites. I saw this when I was 8 years old or 7 years old with my dad and my Uncle Tommy sitting in the middle, and they threw this. It was on a VHS tape. It's called Fritz the Cat. Ms. Weedman mentioned it. 1972. Fucking amazing. I mean, it's and I as a kid shouldn't have watched that because it's stuck in my mind. And I'm now 53. Amazing though. Fantastic Planet. It's 1973. A French Czechoslovakian production. This animated science fiction film is usually one of the weirdest ever made. A story which features human-like creatures kept as pets by giant blue humanoids offers a bizarre and often disturbing sociological allegory. Heavy Traffic, another good one, 1973, mixed with gritty realism and animation using scenes of superimposed over grainy photographies of New York City. It's a story of a young cartoonist in a corrupt urban environment in both raw and surreal. Wizards, another amazing one, 1977 by Ralph Baskey's post-apocalyptic fantasy blends science fiction and sword and sorcery tropes. Its narrative use of distinctive combination of hand-drawn animation, rotoscoping, and hodgepodge of different visual effects. It's a fever dream of a movie. Now, this is what hooked me on animation and got me into watching Japanese animation and falling in love with it. This is 1978, The Lord of the Rings. While less explicitly psychedelic than the other works here, but Ralph Baskey's ambitious, half-finished, rotoscoped adaptation of Tolkien is trippy spectacle. The technique where anime is traced over live-action footage gives the action scenes a uniquely hallucinatory feel. Watership Down, known for being surprisingly brutal and disturbing, the British film adaptation of Richard Adams' novel is a psychological trip. The rabbits, despite struggle for survival and their photographic visions, make the profoundly unsettling experience for many viewers. Heavy Metal, a great soundtrack. 1981, the Canadian adult animated anthology film is a cult classic to a blend of sci-fi, fantasy, and explicit content inspired by magazine of the same name. American Pop, 1981, a really good one. Son of the White Mare, another really good one. Pink Floyd, The Wall, amazing. It's not a full animation, but there is some anime in it. Fire and Ice, 1983, amazing. And Akira, 1988, another good one. Plus all the animation, Japanese animation from the 1970s all the way to today.
Mr. Weedman showed me am I even allowed to say this?
What, my list?
Your list.
Oh, yeah, I've showed you my list. Of
He
what
showed
I've
me his
watched
list
and
of
what
what
I
he-
watch.
Holy schmoly. It's a whole library. That's a lot of hours.
If you watch anime out there, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not into anime,
It's like your hobby.
it's not even just a hobby. It's there's so much goodness that comes out of these things. There's so many good one-liners. There's so many good positive words, and just it's a story.
Stories are good.
The stories are amazing. And this, every anime I've ever watched, I've never said it, I love them all. And it's just, but I've been a cartoon buff. I love Super Friends and He-Man, and I'm just a kid at heart. I'm a 53-year-old kid who still watches cartoons today and animation today. And that lineup I just gave you is probably the reason why I still watch it to today. So if you're a stoner burner pothead like myself, watch some of these movies and you'll see what I'm talking about. From watching from the 70s up to what comes out today, like watch Big Mouth. Well, you watch Big Mouth on Netflix. Watch Big Mouth on Netflix, but first watch Fritz the Cat from 1972. Then watch Big Mouth, and you're gonna see the difference in the two. It's kind of crazy though, like where we've
night and day.
Yes, but still the sexualization of it all.
Yes,
there was a time where of 72 to today though. It's really really crazy what they talk about sexual wise there and what they talk today. So,
very different conversations.
oh yeah, it's nuts. So, Mr. Weedman,
Mr. Weedman,
I love you.
Love you too.
I want you to have a better day tomorrow.
I will.
I love it. You got anything else to say before we go?
Everybody have a great week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting the brand. Thanks for supporting our efforts. We appreciate you.
Everybody out there, we love you. Thanks for listening. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puffing away.
Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.